This is a very, very touchy subject. And I mentioned this before. And I just want to know from all of you, I just want to have your opinion on this thing, on which the argument or debate, however you want to call it, on whether human behavior is really all about environment and nurturing, or is it also genetic? A very important thing to talk about. Hello, everyone. Once again, this is Dare to Speak. I know I talked about this before, and I haven't really gotten that much feedback. And I just wanted to basically make this video just to give a summary of just getting to the point as to whether human behavior, when it comes to someone that are a criminal or someone who's known to have a real bad reputation with anger or violence, someone who likes to fight, or always, I shouldn't say likes to fight, but someone who fights all the time, or they would shoot people, or any number of crazy things. And some people are saying, well, this guy takes after his dad. He's or he takes after his cousins. I mean, they're all, it's all family genetics, which I honestly suspect. Now, environment, I do not disagree with. I also agree that environment plays a very huge role. But in my personal, honest opinion, I believe that it's not just all environment and the way you're being brought up, your upbringing, in other words. I don't think all of it is really from that. I'm just taking a guess. I'm not saying I'm actually correct on the percentage, but half of it has to do with environment and the way, and your upbringing. It's the way a person becomes, their behavior. And the other 50% has to do with genetics, their DNA, their wiring. And I've done some study on this, and to me, I think it's a very profound, but also a very controversial statement for me to say this, that would constantly go into conflict, into a great deal of conflict. And there was this one interview with a very well-known gangster who was part of the Gambino crew. And he made this statement when he was asked about whether the way he was brought up, or how he turned out, or how people turn out, is it because of their DNA, their genetic wiring, their brain wiring, or is it just environment? And he gave this opinion.
Sammy, are you alpha or is your dad alpha? Just because it's a dad doesn't mean one is a bigger alpha than the other one. Did you have more of an alpha spirit than him?
Oh, much more of an alpha than him.
You're much more than him. So let me ask you, how much of you becoming who you became has to do with your environment, and how much of it has to do with your DNA and your wiring and the way you're born? Environment, experiences, teacher, 8-3, dyslexic, bullying, punching a principal, versus your DNA, your wiring.
I believe it's the neighborhood, the environment is one thing. don't think it's my DNA. If there was help in schools, I could have graduated. I got out of the 8th grade. That was my last day in school. I never even went to high school. I ran unions and businesses all over New York. It shocked the whole world.
Now he made a very, very good point. He doesn't believe that it's wiring, that it's just the environment, the way they were brought up, your upbringing, which again, like I said before, I don't disagree with that. I don't dispute that whatsoever. That's just part of the reason. The other part of the reason is something that's very, very difficult, I think, for a lot of people to accept. And this is from a neuroscientist who studies the human brain, and a geneticist. And his name is James Fallon, or Jim Fallon, however you want to say it. And this is what he said.
There were normals mixed in, people with schizophrenia, depression, and there were killers. But I didn't know the mix or who, what. It was just like, here it is. But halfway through, I started to notice a pattern. It was fascinating. This one group, no matter what other damage they had or didn't have, they always had damage of the orbital cortex, right above the eyes. The other part of the brain that looked like it wasn't working right was this front part of the temporal lobe, which houses the amygdala. And that is where your different animal drives are. So I'm like, this is extraordinary. So I separated out the piles and I said, this is a different group. And bingo, when we broke the code, there it was. That group were the killers. And it was really, one of those aha moments.
The areas that looked abnormal were crucial for controlling impulsivity and emotions. Fallon's images seemed to confirm what Hare's work had suggested. It looked like we were getting closer to the signature brain profile of the serial killer.
This is about as dramatic as a difference can be in a PET scan. It's just a mind blower, really.
The location of these abnormalities indicated to Jim why psychopaths could be driven towards extreme behavior.
Just to get up to the point of being satisfied, to kind of feeding the amygdala, if you will, that whole system. Some of these psychopaths have to do extraordinary things. Somebody like them may have to fly to Vegas and get drunk and be with a bunch of prostitutes or snort cocaine or kill somebody over and over and over again. It really indicated that there was a biological basis, a really hardcore brain basis, for this urge to kill. And then that brings the other question is that enough to cause somebody to be a psychopath or a killer? Or are there other factors? So that aha moment was immediately followed by a bunch of question marks.
So this is totally up to you. Give me your honest opinion on this kind of on this subject, because do you believe it's only environment? Just a person's upbringing? Do you believe it's the DNA, family genetics, the abnormal brain damage that's done to the temporal lobe because they were born that way, or because of some kind of I don't know, I would say genetic dysfunction, something that went wrong as they were growing up too? Or is it 50-50? Well, give me your honest opinion on this. And I think pretty soon, people will find out the truth. And to me, it makes a great deal of sense that it's actually both. But then again, I'm only speaking for myself and what I believe. So give me your honest opinion on this. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. questions or comments, you know what to do. And this is Dare to Speak. And to all of you, take care.